Subscribe for more Doctor Who content. Also, like and comment to appease the YouTube algorithm. Legend says that the Dalek Protocol will go down as one of the most underrated releases from Big Finish in 2021. Wait, what was it I just said? The Dalek Protocol? What on earth is the Dalek Protocol? Well, joking aside from your printing errors on the CD for this, the Dalek Protocol, which is the actual title of the story, is a prelude to Dalek Universe. Dalek Universe is a series of box sets starring David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, which sees the 10th Doctor taken out of his own time into a time where the Daleks were very prevalent. So, in a nutshell, the 10th Doctor is taken back to the classic series, essentially, and the Dalek Protocol is a little bonus side story to that, starring Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor. You also have Louise Jameson coming back as Leela, and John Leeson as the voice of K9. Dalek Universe, the Dalek Protocol, also acts as a semi-sequel story to Death to the Daleks, as well as the other Big Finish story from the 4th Doctor Adventures, The Exilons. I bought this as part of a bundle with your 10th Doctor Dalek Universe sets, because I thought, well, you know, seeing as I absolutely love the 4th Doctor, I thought that it would be the perfect opportunity to do so. There's other things in the story which sort of carry on from previous Big Finish stories. So you have the return of Jane Slavin, who plays a character called Anya Kingdom, and Anya Kingdom is a very big part of Dalek Universe. You also have Joe Sims in there playing a android character, and he is called Mark 7. I don't know that much about Mark 7 as a character, but from what I've heard, he was a big part of the Doctor Who comics many years ago. But as for the Dalek Protocol itself, well, let's dive in and see what I make of this story. Once again, the front cover for this is absolutely amazing. We have a few things going on here. It is set on Exilon, this front cover. We have the Exilon City from Death to the Daleks. We also have the 4th Doctor, Leela, K9, a Dalek setting on fire. We have Joe Sims as Mark 7 there. We have Jane Slavin as Anya. We have a nice sun there. It's a nice little sunset in the background. Very nice. We also have a Dalek from Death to the Daleks firing his Death Ray. We have a Supreme Dalek, which features in some 1960s stories of Doctor Who. We have an Exilon, and we also have the TARDIS just hiding there behind a rock, which is very close to the beacon of the city on Exilon. You can also see a few Exilons just there in the distance. If we just turn this to the side, we have the correct sleeve for this release. So it says Dalek Universe, the Dalek Protocol. I still have the error sleeve for this, and I'm going to keep that as a memento, because why not? And here we have a few details on the plot of this story, and it just gives you all your copyright stuff just here at the side, such as your Dalek stuff. It's mainly stuff which relates to the Terry Nation estate, as there's a few characters in this which were created by the Nation estate. Even things like the Kingdom family, because Anya Kingdom is related to the character of Sarah Kingdom, who featured in the Daleks Master Plan back in 1965. Taking a look inside, we have your alternate front cover, as well as more details about the production of the story inside, such as your cast and everything like that. You have disc 1 just here, and we have disc 2. And just here we have an advertisement for Dalek Universe 1 starring David Tennant, and you can also see Jane Slavin and Joe Sims returning as the same characters that feature in this story. So the big question to ask right off the bat, Dalek Universe 1 is probably the main event for these new releases for this Dalek Universe range. And this is just a side dish, essentially. Is it worth getting this alongside Dalek Universe 1? Well, for me, yes. But is it essential? Do you need to listen to this prior to listening to Dalek Universe 1 with David Tennant? No. There's a few events that happen in this which do get referenced in Dalek Universe 1 without going into too many spoilers, but for me at least, I think it adds a lot more. And essentially, the Dalek Protocol does stand on its own 2 feet as its own separate story. I've heard a few people criticise this story, saying it's not all that, saying that it's very continuity laden, and I can get behind that. You have a lot of references to things like Death to the Daleks and even stuff like the Daleks' Master Plan, as it's set sort of in that era because the Dalek Wars are referenced. And you get these soldiers who essentially are fighting Daleks. They know who the Daleks are. You get people like Anya Kingdom. She knows who the Daleks are because, like I said earlier, she's related to Sarah Kingdom, who played a role in the Daleks' Master Plan back in the Hartnell era. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you need to know going into this. I'm going to say that right now. If you're going to go straight into this without having any knowledge of Big Finish or Daleks in general, if you just randomly pick this up, let's say, because you thought, oh, it's Doctor Who, yeah, let's give it a go, and you had absolutely no idea what was going on, that would be completely understandable. But for huge Doctor Who fans like myself, I absolutely love this story. I've criticised stories in the past, whether it's the TV series or maybe Big Finish, for relying too much on the show's past. And the reason why I've criticised it is because there may not necessarily be a story behind it. A lot of the continuity may just be put in front of you just to blind you from the story being bad. But this story is good. It acts as a good sequel to Death to the Daleks because we return to Exelon. You get the return of the Exelons, and it's very good listening to them. And then we get return of a character who I thought would never return to the world of Doctor Who, but it made me very happy that he did return, and it was Bel-Al, this time voiced by Nicholas Briggs, who goes without saying also voices the Daleks. Why should I even tell you that? A lot of you should know that by now. Just hearing Bel-Al come back and he just doesn't know what's going on, bless him. Oh, it's just he's so adorable, Bel-Al, and I thought this in Death to the Daleks, he was one of the best characters out of that story. Him and John Pertwee going into the Exelon City, it's like one of the best things out of that story. And you know, Death of the Daleks isn't the greatest story in the world. I'm going to be the first person to say that. But there's just something about it. There's a charm about it that I really love. And I feel sort of similar to Nicholas Briggs because he himself has made it no secret that he is a huge fan of Death to the Daleks. So this was the perfect opportunity to do a proper sequel to that story after doing the Exelon story a few years ago for the Fourth Doctor Adventures, and it's just so delightful hearing little things like Bel-Al, and you get those sound effects from the city of Exelon. It just made me feel like I was back in Exelon, and this did feel like a proper sequel story. This isn't going to come as a huge surprise to people, but Tom Baker is just on fire in this story. He seems to be really enjoying the material he's been given for this, and it's just so good. The Fourth Doctor's characterisation in this is really good. Little things like his bickering with Leela and K9 and the TARDIS. They're playing chess still, so it's like the Sunmakers all over again, isn't it? So yeah, this is like a season 15 story with Daleks, and it works. You have Anya Kingdom as well being in there, and she is integral to the plot, but at the same time she does not interact with the Fourth Doctor, because she previously travelled with the Fourth Doctor, but it is in the Fourth Doctor's future. So you get a little bit of that wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff going on. It's a little bit like your River Song stuff, like meeting out of order and things like that. Joe Sims as Mark 7. Now, as I said earlier, I had pretty much no knowledge about Mark 7 going into this. He's an android, he's working against the Daleks, but his mind has come under control of the Daleks, and he poses a threat to our main characters throughout this. And I've got to say, Mark 7 is one of the best things about the Dalek Protocol, and is also one of the best things to come out of Dalek Universe 1. More thoughts on that in my review of that. But Jane Slavin and Joe Sims, they're really good in this. Louise Jameson as Leela is so lovable in this as well. I'm so glad that she had stuff to do in this. As ever, you have John Leeson giving his charm to the voice of K9. And, well, Nicholas Briggs got K9 spot on in this. That's all I'll say. All I'll say is K9 is just his usual old self. If you've watched K9 stories with the Fourth Doctor, or you've listened to stories with K9 and the Fourth Doctor, then this is pretty much what you can expect with this. The Daleks don't really feature that much in this, but at the same time, they didn't really have to feature all that much. Every time that they did feature in this, they did have a sort of presence. If it was a criticism I had of this story, it would be that we didn't get all that much Dalek action. And their ending in this is a little bit of a damp squib, because it's just like they get away and that's it. Whether this is to set up events for your Dalek Universe box sets with the 10th Doctor, we're yet to see. There's two main settings for this story. We have Exelon, which is easily the highlight of this whole thing, and we have the spaceship, which is mainly featured in the second half of the story. It's a story of two halves, I'd say that the first two parts are the best parts of the story, but once it leaves Exelon, it does go downhill somewhat, but it's still good. The cliffhanger to part 2, oh my god, what a cliffhanger. So well written, so well edited, it actually left me on the edge of my seat. It was a proper Doctor Who cliffhanger. The final part is actually pretty good though, because we get an interaction between Anya and Leela, and this isn't supposed to happen because, you know, Anya could potentially be messing with the timelines, but she says things to Leela like, don't tell the Doctor who I am because he's yet to meet me in his own future, and you get that nice moment when Leela comes to the realisation that one day she will leave the Doctor. It adds a little bit more gravity to her departure in The Invasion of Time, because I've never made it any secret that I've never really been a fan of her departure in The Invasion of Time. I don't think a lot of people are, because she just leaves at the end of that story, and it's just like, oh, I've fallen in love with this guy now, I'm going to leave now, oh, right, bye. But the thing about this story, and I suppose a lot of other Big Finish stories featuring Leela, is it adds so much to her character, and this is why I love Big Finish so much. It builds upon a lot of things that may have been underdeveloped in the TV series. I can understand some people's frustrations with the Dalek Protocol, with it being continuity heavy, but honestly, it doesn't bother me all that much. I actually really enjoyed this story, and it surprised me, if anything, because I thought it would just be a run-of-the-mill Dalek adventure, and I came out of it thinking, actually, this was really good. If I was to recommend the Dalek Universe arc with the 10th Doctor, then I'd say definitely give this a listen as well, because I think on its own, it is a really good Tom Baker story. It was made as a bonus story, and it actually is a bonus story. I made a joke at the beginning about the whole printing error with the CD release of this, and I did say that the Dalek Protocol was underrated, but honestly, the Dalek Protocol is an underrated story. I think it is really good. But that's just me. Thank you very much for watching this review of the Dalek Protocol, guys. I would recommend this, but honestly, I'll leave it up to you. Stay tuned for more Big Finish reviews on the channel, including Dalek Universe starring David Tennant, and many more Big Finish reviews. Take care. See you next time.